It did find some failings. It talked about operational misunderstandings, which I think some will find as pretty mild language. It talked about breaches of orders. It talked about a regret at the harm that had come to civilians, uninvolved civilians, by which we assume they mean those members of the medical crews that were killed who they do not believe belong to Hamas, because Israel still says 6 of these people who were killed were Hamas members. They produced no evidence to support that. And the names of all the 14 medical workers and civil defence workers are in the public domain, so they could point to those names and say this person and this, but they haven't chosen to do that. Now, they've taken some action. They've fired a commander who was on the ground. They've reprimanded a commander further up the food chain. But they've also praised the commander who was on the ground, having fired him, about his service, about his career, about his abilities. So in some ways, they have given with one hand and taken away with the other in terms of him. There are still some big questions, not least this one about the Hamas fighters and whether or not there's any proof of that. They haven't explained why night visibility was a problem, given that we now know these ambulances had their headlights on, had their emergency lights on, and there's been no real explanation about the breach of orders that seemed to lead to the killing of the UN worker in his car. No explanation of why discipline broke down at that particular time in the night.